You've probably heard it before. In the medieval era, people barely lived past 30. Sounds like a pretty rough time to be alive, right? But was life really that short? Or is this just another history myth? Let's find out. The idea that medieval people only lived to 30 comes from something called average life expectancy. But here's the trick. That number includes infant mortality. And back then, child mortality rates were insanely high. In some places, 30 to 50% of children died before they even turned 5. Disease, poor sanitation, and lack of medical knowledge meant many kids didn't make it. So if you take all those early deaths and average them in with people who lived much longer, you get a number like 30. But that doesn't mean everyone just dropped dead on their 30th birthday. But what if you did survive childhood? Well, you had a pretty decent shot at living to 50, 60, or even older. Medieval records show plenty of people living long lives. For example, Charlemagne, one of the most powerful rulers of the medieval period, lived to 72. Geoffrey Chaucer, the guy who wrote the Canterbury Tales, made it to 56. And monks, who lived peaceful lives in monasteries, often reached their 70s or 80s. Even regular people, farmers, merchants, and craftsmen, could live long lives if they avoided disease, war, and accidents. Of course, the medieval era wasn't exactly a safe time to be alive. Even if you made it past childhood, there were still plenty of ways to die early. One of the biggest killers, disease. The Black Death alone wiped out 50 million people in the 14th century. That's about half of Europe's population. But even without plagues, medieval people had to deal with tuberculosis, dysentery, and smallpox. And since medieval medicine wasn't exactly advanced, even a simple infection could be fatal. And if you were a knight or a soldier, war was a constant threat. Unlike modern armies, medieval warfare was brutal, chaotic, and up close. Swords, arrows, and even diseases in filthy camps could cut a warrior's life short. Even outside of battle, life was risky. Falling off a horse, cutting yourself with a dirty tool, or even just eating spoiled food could be deadly. No antibiotics, no surgery, and no hospitals like we have today. If you broke a bone, good luck. If you got an infection, might as well start praying. The closest thing to a doctor was usually a barber surgeon, and their best cure for a serious injury was amputation. But even in this dangerous world, some people thrived. So, who was most likely to live a long life? One of the best careers for a long life, being a monk or a nun. They lived in monasteries with clean water, had steady food supplies, and weren't constantly at war. Some monks lived into their 70s or 80s. Nobles had access to better food, medicine, and protection. Of course, they had to avoid being assassinated, poisoned, or betrayed. But if they did, they had a good shot at old age. And even peasants could live long lives if they avoided disease and war. A farmer who ate well and didn't suffer an accident could reach his 50s or 60s, and some even lived to 80. So let's answer the question, did medieval people really die at 30? No. That number is misleading because of high child mortality. If you made it past childhood, you had a good chance of reaching middle or old age. So next time someone tells you people in the medieval era all died young, just remind them. That's only true if you count all the babies who never made it past 5. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.